Why is the business complicated? Why do people struggle with it? What makes people potentially quit real estate investing? Like I'm going to talk about today on this real estate investing weekly lesson, why real estate is hard, right? Because you see a lot of gurus out there talking about it's easy to make money or it's really hard to wholesale or flipping is simple or development is impossible. And today I'm going to distill the truth as someone who's been doing this for a decade. So I have a lot of experience to share with you on really why real estate investing is so hard, but also why it's so worth it. So, if you're not familiar with me, my name is Greg Helbeck. Thank you for either watching this video or listening to this podcast, depending on how you're consuming it. If you get value from this, do me a favor and share the show with other people. It would really mean a lot to me. And like I said earlier, I have been in the weeds doing this for 10 years. So I've seen a lot of stuff. I've been there, done that, and I still got a lot to learn. So the first thing that I'll mention on why real estate investing is really hard is because you have to be a master of a lot of different skills that don't really correlate with each other. So let me give you an example. You have to be really good at identifying investment properties, and that either is from other people like realtors or wholesalers, or you have to completely go out and direct to seller market, which essentially is sales and marketing. So you got to be really good at communicating with people. If you're marketing, you got to be good at negotiating and people skills. But then at the same time, you have to be really good at being analytical and underwriting properties. So let's talk about that because the first component of real estate investing is property acquisition. And if we're going to break property acquisition into two components, deal sourcing and deal underwriting, those are two different skill sets. Marketing to sellers privately and negotiating with them is a soft skill. That's just communication and empathy, understanding sales and persuasion. That's one component of property acquisition. The other component of it is analysis, underwriting, getting capital for deals. That's a completely separate skill that is not correlated to communication and marketing. And that's just one component of the business. Let's take financing out of it. We'll talk about that in another part of the video. But think about it. You got to go out and you got to get sellers to take a discount on their house, which is not easy. And then you got to understand if they're willing to do that, what makes a good deal up financially? How much can the property make in profit? How much is the sales price going to be? What's the rehab cost going to be? What would it rent for if you're renting it? These are two skills that are not correlated with each other. And that's where a lot of people struggle. Some people might be really good at the marketing aspect of the business and the sales component. And then other people might be really good at underwriting properties and figuring out what to pay for things. So that's why people struggle in the beginning, especially on the front end of the business, and they always run into issues, right? Second reason real estate investing is hard is because you got to understand, depending on your exit strategy, it's a completely different business. So what do I mean by that? If you're getting properties and you're wholesaling off to investors, that's a pretty simple situation. You're going to get a property under contract, you're going to assign the contract, you're going to get paid at closing an assignment fee, right? Your money's in your pocket, deal's done. Now, if you're a renovator like me or a guy who flips more houses than wholesales them, you got to understand how do you operate this inventory that you're buying to where you can sell it for a profit, because getting the deal to the closing table is just the first step when you're flipping a house. You got to get the house repaired probably, or even if you're not rehabbing it, you got to get utilities on, you got to get all the insurance documents in place, you got to get the lender involved, which is another skill set, raising money, whether it's private money or hard money, that's not easy. And then you got to get these properties sold on the market or rented out to tenants, which is another completely different skill. So let's talk about the second component, which is property acquisition. If you're wholesaling a house, the second that assignment of contract closes, you're good to go. You got paid, you go to another one. But if you're flipping houses like me, which is really where I do more of my business now, you got to understand inventory management. These houses that you have that you're not renting out, like this is excluding rentals, this is inventory. Like if you're a grocery store, your inventory is the products you're selling that people are buying to eat. If you're flipping houses, your inventory is all your houses you're selling. So you got to make sure that inventory is properly financed, properly insured. All the utilities are running to that piece of inventory. You got to make sure in the winter the snow is getting shoveled, or in the summer the grass is getting cut. You got to manage that inventory. And then on the other end, when you're going to sell that product, you got to get a good realtor to sell your houses. You have to understand the retail buyer process on how people buy your houses if they get mortgages. All of these different things are what make real estate investing extremely hard. You have to be multifaceted. You have to have multi-skill sets. Or if you're not willing to have some of those skill sets, you have to either partner with people who have them, or you got to hire people who have them. So let me give you an example in my business, what I do to be a very good real estate investor and who I leverage to help me with the other stuff. Well, the first thing is obvious, contractors. I don't actually fix these houses myself. So I employ contractors on a contractual basis, hence their name, to fix these properties for me. So as long as the numbers work between me and the contractor and I understand how to put together a scope of work and how to hold them accountable, I can outsource the construction. And I've been doing that for 10 years. The second thing I outsource is the disposition of the properties, which means that I hire a real estate agent to sell these houses for me. And then that real estate agent is responsible for selling the house and vetting the buyers and reviewing the offers. And now I can pay a 5 or 6% commission, or depending on where it is, 4.5%. And that realtor can take that property and they can sell it and they can get paid very well. And I don't have to deal with that. Now, regarding the stuff that I'm good at, it's the three things that I mentioned. Deal acquisition. I'm very good at that through my own marketing and through relationships with wholesalers and agents. Operations, in terms of getting the inventory to the closing table to buy, pushing deals along, getting them closed, and then getting the financing, right? I'm good at private money. I can get hard money if I need to. And then also the high level decisions I have to make, regarding what offer to take, reviewing stuff with the realtors or the contractors. But that, my friends, is why real estate investing is really hard. And a lot of these skills don't complement each other. If you're really good at working with contractors, does not necessarily mean you're going to be good at working with sellers and vice versa. So that's why people struggle in this business. And that's why you see a lot of people start real estate investing. Maybe they do a deal, but then they say, this isn't for me. And that's not the truth. If you can get really good at the few things that matter, in my opinion, it's getting deals and getting money, you can outsource the rest and have that take care of itself. Or if you're really good at selling properties, maybe you should be a real estate agent. Or if you're really good at the contracting aspect of it, maybe you have a contracting business. So if you want to be a good, successful real estate investor and make a lot of money, you have to be multifaceted or have people that work with you that are complementary to the skill sets that you lack. But here's what I wanted to save this video for at the end. It's worth it. The difficult part of this business, many of the difficult parts of this business, they're worth it in the end, because at the end of the day, you can make $500,000 in this business. And yes, you're going to have to work hard, but you can control your own schedule. You can be your own boss, which is a double-edged sword. Ask me how I know. You can set the business up to go around your lifestyle. You can do all of these things that a conventional 9-to-5 job will not allow you to do, right? If you're willing to learn the skills and have the right mindset required to be successful as a real estate house flipper in this case, or landlord, which is basically a separate business that I can make another video on. Trust me, it's worth it, right? This business has given me tremendous financial freedom. It's allowed me to do things that I wouldn't even imagine were possible when I was younger. And it's 1,000% worth it, but you have to be willing to pay the price, right? I remember hearing a great quote from a successful real estate guy a long time ago, and he said, pay the price today so you can pay any price tomorrow. So hopefully you got value from this video. If you did, do me a favor, like it, subscribe. If you're listening on audio, share the show with other people. And if you are in the Hudson Valley or Seattle, Delaware, Reno, Nevada, or San Diego, where I used to live, and you have a house you want to wholesale to me or wholesale it with me, depending on your preference, I am a buyer. Very interested in your property, send me an email, greg@velocityhousebuyers.com, or send me an Instagram DM @grego37, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.